All right, Jules, well, since you're here, you know we have to talk about Ligue 1, and specifically one of your boys. Look how happy he is to talk about it. Let's talk about the man with the flow, Folarin Balogun. He was in action with Monaco up against Saint-Etienne this last weekend. He was subbed off after just 69 minutes. Now, Jules, he came with your glowing recommendation once we knew that he was going to play for the US men's national team. Since then, there has been some underwhelming feelings surrounding him. I remember speaking to him this summer at the Copa America and asked him about how he feels about the heat on his back. You know, everyone wondering if he's the best fit there up front. And he said, look, he dropped probably one of the best bars of an interview. He said, look, my heat's internal. And I was like, oh. And you know what? He backed it up because he showed up at that Copa America. Unfortunately, it was a short-lived Copa America. But overall, especially with the fact that Haji Rice is netting bare goals for Coventry, Josh Sargent is also doing some stuff at Norwich. And I know you're going to say technically this is second division, and at least Balogun is playing in the first division, so that outweighs it. But there is still some heat on him, Jules. And do you feel like overall he's just not shown that he's the real deal yet?
Yeah, maybe, but certainly he hasn't shown, I think, all his potential and everything that he can do so far. That's for sure. I mean, not last season, the season that finished last, but the one before when he was at Reims, he was outstanding. Obviously, as we know, that got him the move to Monaco. It's very different as we see on the stats. On the stats now, Reims was playing for him. It was the players that we really didn't see coming at that kind of level, scoring 21 goals. There was a point where he had as many as Kylian. So it was really the big surprise. Then you go to Monaco and you've got to confirm everything that you did that previous season. Monaco is a better club. Okay, the pressure is, there's no pressure because there's no fans really, but still you're competing to qualify for the Champions League. You're competing that way. You've got Wissam Ben Yedder, one of the best French strikers of his generation, who's also there. There's Bril Mbolo. Suddenly, the competition for places is much, much higher than anything that you were before at Reims in that season, where you were the one guy that everybody wanted, that the team was built around. Suddenly, you were in a team where you had to fight for your place. He knew that every time he was playing, he had to deliver, had to score. Otherwise, he would sit on the bench and then Ben Yedder or Mbolo or Minamino or somebody else would come in because the players were that good in that squad. So I can see why it was a bit difficult for him to kind of to settle down and to hit the ground running and get into his stride and everything. This season now, the one that just started, is hugely important for him. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but this one has to be the one where really delivers. Ben Yedder is gone. Minamino will play a bit deeper on the right or on the left. Golovin on the other side. And him and Mbolo really are the two front men in Adi Hutter's 4-4-2 formation. So now there's no competition is always there in those kind of clubs, but he's a starter. He's established. And against Saint-Etienne, he came off because he had short holidays after the Copa America, like you said, even if it finished a bit earlier than what he would have liked. But now, really, this is where they will be in the Champions League, group stages straight away, so no qualifiers, straight into the Champions League. In the league, they're aiming for top 2, top 3 with Marseille and PSG. We expect them to be the 3 best teams in the league. So he will have service from Minamino, Golovin, etc., etc. He will be a starter. Now he just has to bang the goals.
That's the problem, is you've got to bang the goals. And I'm not so worried when it comes to young players about them getting on the field. It's staying on the field. You've got to capitalize and be consistent with the opportunities. We need to keep in mind he's really only had 2 full seasons in top-flight football. He's 23 years old, 2 full seasons in top-flight football. Now, when we look at the field for the U.S. men's national team, Josh Sargent, Haji Wright, they're banging in goals. Ricardo Pepi, when he gets on the field, he's proven to be somewhat effective. For the U.S. men's national team, albeit a lot of substitute appearances, he was scoring goals when Folarin Balogun was not. There seems to be a little bit of competition, so how he respond remains to be seen. But it's a far cry, Jules, from that player we saw 2 seasons ago. 21 goals, just looked so much more confident. His runs were so much more crisp. He seemed like a player that knew exactly what he wanted to do every time he got the ball. If you saw him last year, only 7 goals since, and you saw him this game, there are opportunities that are there, but the confidence, he doesn't seem that confident in his abilities. So I'm with you about he'll get his opportunities, but he's got to put these away because a lot of people here in the States, for many different reasons, don't keep up with Ligue 1. They can't get the channel, they don't follow the league, so they just go with the stats. The new coach, Mauricio Pochettino, he knows the level of the league. He's going to know the players who are in or around him, but he's going to see players like Haji Wright, see players like Josh Sargent, even though they're in a lower league, how consistent they are. It's a make or break year for Folarin Balogun.
Yeah, I agree with you, really. And I know everything that you're saying is right. I don't know. I just think of all the players you mentioned, Haji Wright and Sargent, even Pepe, I think Flo, for me, is the most talented. The one that's got maybe the most complete game. And as you know, obviously, that position really, really well. So you're right. It's just about the confidence. They're telling me in Monaco how well he trains and how well he does the training. So there may be just something just to click really during the games in Ligue 1, whether that comes in the Champions League. And I agree with you, it has to come really soon. And now once the first goal comes, the rest have to follow. Last season, he was in the team, out of the team, starting, not starting, playing an hour, then playing 10 minutes or 15 minutes. This season, he will have a good run of games and then he needs to score. And once he scored one, then hopefully for him, the others will come. But it's a massive, massive season.
Last season, he had that opening game where he missed 2 penalty kicks in his debut. And I think that really hurt his confidence, especially with the fans. You want to start off with the right foot. But I always use a guy like Jonathan David as an example. He does a process. Genk scored a bunch of goals at Genk when he was 18 years old, gets a move to Ligue 1 with Lille. And at Lille, now he's the all-time leading goal scorer in their history, and we're putting up teams like Milan, AC Milan, Atletico. Those are the teams that are in and around that orbit. So there's a process that I think most of these players either haven't done or have skipped through. And Folarin Balogun, for as big of a club he's at right now, Monaco, and the accelerated process of him being that 9 on the national team, he really hasn't had that process. So I'm hoping he gets it.
All right. Well, we know that Jules is getting on in age and it's well past his bedtime. So we're going to let him go, Jules. We're going to leave these late nights for the young cats like me and Herc. But thanks so much, as always, Jules, for joining us. And we'll see you again this late soon.
Anytime, guys. Thank you so much.